From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes. Brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week. And we are ecstatic. You've tuned us in, boy, and we have a lot to unpack when it comes to sports in the Twin Cities. We're going to start with the Minnesota Wild and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have taken us both into May. How about the Twin Cities being the last market?
That's true.
In North America with their NHL and NBA teams still playing.
It is a feat that we have seldom seen.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of a parade for that, no matter what happens.
Oh, boy. Well, and all right, since you mentioned parades, let's start with the Timberwolves. If we don't get a parade, or at least to the NBA Finals, I'm talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves, if they don't get to the NBA Finals this year, let's face it, they've been to the Western Conference Finals the last couple of years, okay? And if they do not get to the NBA Finals, are there big changes? Are there somewhere in the middle changes? Are there no changes? Do you run Chris Finch out? I think Chris Finch is solid. I don't think that they're going to run him off. But what about a guy like Julius Randle? Is that the guy that you put on the market and see what you can get? Got a big contract, hasn't really delivered as far as the long-term goals that they've had with him.
I think the key is you have to identify, the roadblocks in front of you. Now, I realize next season things can be fluid in sports, but it looks to me like Oklahoma City's not going anywhere.
No.
They're going to be good for a long time as they try to repeat. San Antonio will probably only get better. They've got Wemby, and he's a force. I mean, he's a unicorn. So you're going to have to deal with him. In fact, how about getting moved to the East next season?
That'd be
then
good.
You wouldn't have to worry about SGA and Wemby. But for now, they're in the West. So I think the Timberwolves probably need one more star. Easier said than done, though. Because who do you go get? Who do you give up? Like you said, you got to worry about the cap fit. It's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. Who are you going to have to give up? I mean, you're not just going to get somebody in your lap for free. Now, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Milwaukee says they're open to trade offers. So if this thing doesn't end in a title for the Timberwolves, they were interested a couple of months ago. Why wouldn't you be interested now?
I'm sure they are, but it's a matter of what you're willing to give up.
Yeah.
And back a couple of months ago, back in February, so it's actually 3 months ago, they didn't have a draft pick to give up. Now they do. They'll have this year's draft pick, which is, 20-something, 26th or something like that. But it's a draft pick. It's a first-round draft pick nonetheless. So that could be part of the mix. But I don't know if that tips the balance anyway. And here's the other thing you have to think about. Okay, if you trade for Giannis, what are you giving up? And let's not forget that Ant was hurt for a fair portion of the season, right? He didn't get his what do they need, 66 games to be considered for
postseason recognition,
yeah. Right? Okay. Giannis missed, damn near half the season. Okay. So if one of those guys go down and you give away, let's say you give away Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, and that draft pick, now what?
Yeah, first of all, I would try to sit on Jaden McDaniels. That would be a guy.
Well, that's who they're going to ask for.
To protect. Maybe you try to give somebody Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle, which is still a ton. It's a big chunk of the current Minnesota Timberwolves, and they're very good. This is a good team. They're well coached, like you said, by Chris Finch. The problem is the Spurs and the Thunder. You have to find a way to be better than those guys. So it's a bit of a conundrum. We'll see what happens.
We need the expansion to happen sooner so they can move to the East.
That's exactly my point, because the East, at least on paper, is the weaker conference.
No, it is. It is. I mean, whoever comes out of the West, whether it's, the Spurs or OKC or the Timberwolves, I think that they'll be the favorite.
Yeah. I mean, Oklahoma City's 8-0 through 2 rounds.
Yeah, they haven't lost.
They haven't blinked.
And the Knicks have been bouncing people, too. I mean, the Knicks just ran right over Philadelphia. They were a speed bump, as you like to say. So, all right, let's flip the script. What about the Wild? Are you anticipating big changes there, or first of all, you got to sign Quinn Hughes?
Well, that's the first and foremost thing. You got to convince Quinn Hughes that you can win the cup here in Minnesota. And certainly the Wild have made progress this season, just getting into round 2. I mean, my goodness, it's been 11 years.
11 years.
Since there's been playoff hockey in May in St. Paul. That was it's a good thing to experience. Yeah, you got to keep Quinn Hughes. Also, like the Timberwolves, you have to identify in your conference who you think you have to find a way to be better than. Colorado is the obvious one.
That'd be at the top of the list.
That's the elephant in the room, the Colorado Avalanche. You were better than Dallas in the playoffs, but they're not going anywhere.
Right.
They're going to be very good next season. And a team like the San Jose Sharks with Macklin Celebrini, a young superstar, they're eventually going to get good. Chicago Blackhawks with Connor Bedard. So you have to be looking at the landscape, not just who's better than you now, but who's coming up in the rearview mirror. I think Bill Guerin's done a good job of adding pieces, though, and they seem to be committed, the Wild. They probably need, like the Timberwolves, just one more star, piece. But you got to give somebody up to get it.
Well, we thought Quinn Hughes was going to be that guy.
Yeah.
Well, they got to keep Quinn Hughes, that's for sure. All right. We're going to shift and talk some baseball coming up next with Bob Nightengale, USA Today.
All right. We are 10K Takes, your Timberwolves and Wild ticket.
Life moves fast, but when that Freddy's hits, you can't help but slow down. Freddy's, this is the good stuff. Freddy's new Hot Honey menu is love at first trip. It'll leave you burning for more.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Let your adventure begin in Lakeville, Minnesota. We have over 90 places to grab a bite to eat, and we're close to the Mall of America, Valley Fair, and the Minnesota Zoo, plus hotel packages and great rates. Visit Lakeville. We're serious about fun all year round.
We are Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes, and we're going to talk some Major League Baseball now. Our friend Bob Nightengale, who covers Major League Baseball for USA Today, joins us now. Nice coat, by the way. I'm glad you got into the dressy mood. Let me ask you this. Have the Minnesota Twins given you any reason to come and do a story here in Minneapolis unless it's something about somebody on the other team?
I'm going to wait for the Twins to come to Phoenix, Arizona for Butters Day weekend. So I'm waiting for that.
All right, then give me an overview of the Twins right now.
You know, it's pretty much what we expected, right? I mean, nothing's really changed. You thought they'd be below 500. I mean, they're not far back in the standings. I don't think we thought the AL Central would be this bad. We knew it was a weak division, you know, where everybody's still alive. But yeah, nothing's really changed. I think, you know, on the outset, you know, going on, we thought that this would be pretty much a Twins team, under 500 team, scrappy team, but not a competitive team.
Yeah, when the Twins go to Phoenix in June, you can break bread with your son Bobby, who covers the Twins for the Minnesota Star Tribune, and do a Byron Buxton takeout because he's certainly worth it. But I want to ask you, do you think Major League Baseball is having buyer's remorse that they're going to go back to Iowa for that, you know, that game in the cornfield, and it's Philadelphia and Minnesota?
The trouble is they got spoiled by that first one. You know, what the White Sox won, Tim Anderson hitting the ball in the cornfield.
Yeah.
Nothing top that. Nothing will. That was a dramatic game. I think it was against the Yankees, right?
Yeah,
and he had the big comeback. So nothing will top that. And I know they're trying to they said they got about 20 Hall of Famers coming. So they're trying to build it up with the stars of the cast.
Okay, let's talk about this Twins bullpen. That has been the Achilles heel basically all season. They got the second worst ERA for a bullpen in the American League. And I'm not sure who's even worse than them because they've been terrible. How do you fix this? Do they just hope that things get better? Is that the idea, that you got these young guys and you're trying to figure it out as you go along? Or I can't imagine that they're going to go make a move. Do you?
No, I don't. I think you just stay, hang with it until the end of the season and get some more parts. The bullpens are always so erratic. You always have to have different guys, different arm slots, and just that makes or break a team. But it goes back to the last trade deadline. I still don't understand why they traded Barlin, the homegrown kid who's now the closer for Toronto Blue Jays. He's a stud. So it's a whole different story if Barlin's with the Twins, and completely different.
Yeah, and I guess one positive out of that liquidation they had late July last year was getting Taj Bradley in the Griffin Jacks deal with Tampa Bay. But now Taj has been very good, but now he's injured. Did you see that coming, though, that he would have this kind of success for Minnesota?
Well, he certainly had a lot of talent. I mean, the Rays had big time visions of him being a star. So he was a disappointment in Tampa Bay. So no, he certainly had this in him. Interesting now that Griffin Jacks is a starter for Tampa. They just convert him. We'll see how he does there. So looks like a fair trade. We'll see how Jacks does in the rotation. But Bradley was a guy that was kind of underachieving in Tampa. You expected more from him. Before they made the trade.
Jax actually was a starter here in Minnesota before he became a reliever and then was traded. So yeah, it's a role that he's had in the past. You guys mentioned Byron Buxton, and I want to get your take on Byron Buxton. And if you think Buxton said last year he wants to be a Twin for life. I know you heard the quote from him. Do you think that he would give that up if he is given the opportunity to get to a contender at this point?
I think if you said to him, how about going back home to Atlanta? That might be the only team. Atlanta doesn't need him. Atlanta might be the best team in all of baseball. So I don't think those conversations go anywhere. But yeah, I think Atlanta might be the only spot where he would think that. It's cool for him to say. It really is. That he wants to stay there through a rebuilding thing. I know when I was covering the San Diego Padres with Tony Gwynn, he says, he definitely didn't want to be traded. He goes, I'd hate for the team to start winning once I left. And I think it's the same thing with Mike Trout with the Angels. Just he wants to stay with the Angels, just out loyalty and everything else. And obviously very, very comfortable. And I'm sure Bucks is very comfortable in Minnesota.
Bob, things are slowly starting to take shape around Major League Baseball. What's up with Shohei Ohtani at the plate? He is struggling right now. The power number's way down. As a pitcher, he might win the Cy Young, but what's going on with the bat?
He's hitting like a pitcher. He's hitting like a Cy Young.
Good one.
But yeah, it's over he's already had 16 hitless games. I think he's hitting .2 in his last 12 games. Big time homerless route. So he'll come around. I know they're being very careful with him. Right now, he's not hitting on the days he's pitching. I think they're going to rest him also on Thursday. He's not going to hit at all. But he'll be fine. I mean, he's got too good of a track record. He's never been through this kind of slump before. But he's never pitched like this either.
So which is the real New York Yankees team? The team we saw vault into first and make a run for about a 4 or 5 week period, or the team that has struggled here over the last week or so, got swept by the Brewers last weekend? Not to say that the Brewers are a bad team, but I think you catch my drift.
Yeah, I think they're the best team in the American League. I really do. I'd be surprised if they don't, get to the World Series, particularly with that pitching that's coming on. Rodon just come back. We're going to see Garrett Cole here at some point. The offense, except for Jazz Chisholm at second, has been very solid. So they're a very good team. And the Dodgers are going through a little slump too. The Dodgers are still the best team in the National League. So I think the Yankees are still feeling good about themselves.
But on the flip side, Bob, we had Dwayne Statz on a few weeks ago on radio, voice of the Tampa Bay Rays, and he emphasized getting back into that Tropicana Dome, which we all, pound on it. It's not an ideal baseball setting, but the Rays are comfortable there. It reminds me of what the Twins used to do at the Metrodome. And they're in first place at the time of this taping, the Tampa Bay Rays. They're ahead of the New York Yankees. I think they're going to hang around. What do you think?
I mean, I kind of like the Brewers of the American League, eclipsing expectations year after year. We'll see. I mean, they made moves to kind of gear for the future. I think they slowly fade. I still think they can, make the playoffs, considering how down the American League is. But I don't see them keeping up with the Yankees because the moves they made was for the future. If they really thought they would have a chance to win this year, they wouldn't have made those moves. But very smart front office, do things right year after year. And hey, that's the Players Association's best friend come labor deal. It's like, hey, look at the Brewers, look at Tampa Bay Rays. You don't have to have a big payroll to win. Smart office always, overcomes everything.
As you correctly pointed out, the AL Central is not very good. Make my day and tell me that Cleveland is going to win this division.
I know, it's like, every single year it's like, okay, Cleveland can't do it. I mean, what a historic comeback last year. It's like when people talk about the trade deadline, hey, Cleveland gave up at the trade deadline, traded Bieber, everything else, and look what happened. The Mets had the best record in baseball, come mid-June in, historic collapse. No, I think they're the team to beat. Detroit, I think, has got some problems. Miscuba's going to come back quicker than they thought, but they're not playing well at all. McGonagall is unbelievable. He should win Rookie of the Year the way he's playing, in the infield. But, Cleveland just does things right, and, until somebody knocks them off, it's their division to lose.
And in the AL West, Bob, Houston is struggling, as is Texas. The LA Angels are at the bottom. I still think Seattle will make a move. They're a good team. But right now, it's West Sacramento on top. Is Major League Baseball at all concerned about postseason baseball in that AAA ballpark in Northern California?
Not yet. Well, give it to August, and they might start to be freaking out here. I can't wait till see this summer where Los Angeles Dodgers are playing in West Sacramento. Dodgers have the biggest media contingent in all of baseball. You're talking about 80 to 100 reporters. About 80%, 90% are Japanese reporters. I don't know where they fit everybody. I mean, that's a small place. I've been there a couple of times. I don't know where they fit people. But no, it's a cool story. I think Oakland or the Athletics are going to be in the playoffs 1 year from now. I think they're 1 year early. I don't see it lasting, but I think they're going to be a big time power this winter because I think they're going to get every free agent pitcher to say just one more year in the minor league ballpark. Then we get to go to beautiful Vegas on the Strip. Yeah,
well, they certainly have the hitting to do it. That's for sure with Chandeliers and Soderstrom and the rest of them. Bob, we appreciate you spending some time with us. We'll catch you down the road when you come to Minneapolis to cover the Twins as they make their run for the pennant.
Sounds great. Take care, guys.
See you, Bob.
He is Bob Nightengale. He is a MLB columnist for USA Today, right here on Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes. Back with more after this. Stay with us.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
Life moves pretty fast, but not at Freddy's. When that first bite hits, you can't help but slow down. The secret to quality time is just quality and time. That's Freddy's.
Mom, what's wrong with them? That's called quality time. Don't stare.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
favorite earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Welcome back. 10,000 takes. And I want you to give me 10,000 reasons for me to care about this stupid schedule release that happened this week. We already knew who the Vikings were going to play and whoever else was going to play. I don't understand the interest in this, that they make such a big deal out of the schedule release. But it is what it is. We know the Vikings are going to play the Packers and the Lions and the Bears here and there. We already knew all their opponents. I guess that's, I don't know, man. The NFL somehow has a stranglehold on the media and the U.S. Football fans' attention.
They have the ability to dominate the news cycle when you've got the NBA and NHL playoffs kind of reaching a crescendo of interest. Baseball is starting to fall into place, and got all the other stuff, soccer, PWHL, WNBA. But yeah, the NFL is King Kong. I'll say this, if you're a passionate Minnesota Viking fan, you need to know when and where. So if you are going to follow your team on the road or even travel from Des Moines up to Minneapolis to see a game or Fargo, you got to know the dates. And you give the NFL credit. They're way better than college football in this regard. Unless they flex a game, you know when it's going to be and when it's going to kick off. College football, you don't know until about 3 days before what time it's going to start. So that's what it is. There's a lot of NFL fans who do travel. They'll say, okay, I'm going to go to 1 or 2 road games. Easy ones being Green Bay, Chicago. By the way, get to Chicago. They'll be in a dome soon. So go treasure Soldier Field. That's going to go away at some point. But, you got a road game against San Francisco. They get 9 home games this year. They get the odd number.
There's a plus.
Yeah, they get Indianapolis, I believe, is the other team they get. So who knows, though, why people are that wound up about it.
Okay. Are you excited for Adrian Peterson? He is going into the Ring of Honor. Only the second running back in the Ring of Honor. He joins Chuck Foreman, right?
Yeah. Isn't Robert Smith in
Robert
Ring of Honor? I believe he is.
Okay,
yeah.
so there are 2 others already.
Yep.
Okay, I misread that then. Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy for AP. I had a chance to do a celebrity flag football broadcast at the Super Bowl at Cal Berkeley, and he was in it. He was playing, so I chatted with him. And, he's a guy that's, trying to get his life back on track. There have been some mistakes made. That's well documented. But I think at his core, he's a good guy. And he's a Viking. Even though he bounced around at the end of the career, Detroit and Washington and maybe even Arizona. I can't remember.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So, but he's a Minnesota Viking. And boy, he hit the ground running when he came here. He was a bulldozer. I mean, he ran angry. He doled out the punishment. And I said this on the radio the other day, and I mean this as an extreme compliment. I think he's the greatest single-dimensional running back I've ever seen in the NFL.
Backhanded compliment.
Well, I mean, he was a pure runner.
No,
he was not a pass-catching back like Chuck Foreman or some of these guys you see now, and he wasn't a guy you'd want in there on 3rd down picking up a blitz.
No.
But if you wanted a guy to get you the tough yards with brute strength, I mean, pure power, and then, sprinter speed, AP was your guy.
Yeah. Well, and here's a guy that, as you said, played for several teams after he was with Minnesota, came out of retirement, quote unquote, and trying to pay his bills. I mean, that was basically what it came down to, because he had a lot of children to pay for. And the other thing is he stepped into the boxing ring trying to pay his bills. So he wasn't afraid to do whatever it takes to get it to fill his pockets, I guess.
Yeah, and the one thing I think we overlooked, that MVP year that he had for the Vikings, and one of 3 Minnesota Vikings to be an MVP, Fran Tarkenton, Alan Page, the others. Just months earlier, he shredded his knee late in the season against Washington. Nobody thought he was coming back, and he had an MVP season. So he really brought it every Sunday. There was no load management for AP.
No. Good for him. All right. No load management for us. We're coming back with takes of the day. We are Minnesota Scores 10,000 takes. Stay with us.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
Wally and Eric from 10,000 Takes here in the land of lakes. And if you want sports of all sorts, check us out. We cover all the bases, all the teams in the great state of Minnesota.
Vikings, Twins, Wild, Gophers, Timberwolves, Loons, you name it, we do it. Late night Saturday night on Fox 9 Plus and on the Fox local app.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
10K Takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Big shout out to the viewers in the Twin Ports, right here in the Twin Cities, and of course, Med City, Rochester. They want to know what your mood is. Angry, cranky, happy, sarcastic, maybe something else. What is it?
Well, as you know, Timberwolves making another run in the postseason this year has awakened some of those in the national media, including Fox Sports blowhard Colin Cowherd. Yes, Colin Cowherd, just a couple of weeks ago, saying that the Minnesota market and the Timberwolves franchise, not big enough for Anthony Edwards to become a superstar. He won't get those promotions. He won't get all those extra deals, except, of course, he's Santa Claus, Sprite. Those folks used him. And then, get this. So we're not good enough for Anthony Edwards, according to Cowherd. But then, as soon as the Timberwolves take out San Antonio in Game 1, and I assume he felt the same way after they beat them again, he reversed course and says, oh, the Timberwolves are the most disrespected franchise in all of the NBA. Well, I wonder why, you knucklehead. Clowns like you, if we're not East Coast or we're not West Coast, we're not New York or LA, I guess that's the recipe for not being the right place for a superstar like Anthony Edwards, who, oh, by the way, plans to stay here as long as the Timberwolves want him.
All right, and that mood meter says he's an angry American pinning the red. You're in flyover land.
What a joke.
Yeah. Well, Ant loves it here. He's said that more than once.
I hate giving Cowherd any ink at all.
Well, you just did.
I know. I did it again, didn't I? But
all right, well, my take of the day, let's keep the subject on basketball. How about college hoops?
Okay.
The NCAA men and women are going to expand their tournament. March Madness goes from 68 to 76. I guess it's the spirit of 76, right? We're on birthday number 250 here in the U.S. It all started in 1776 back in Philadelphia. Well, okay, you can laugh at it and say it's bloated, and it is. But I'm throwing the gauntlet down for the Gopher men's basketball team. If you can't punch a ticket and be one of the 76,
don't count on it.
You might want to think about leaving the Big Ten, maybe leaving Division I. 76 teams? You can't. I mean, I'm going to be optimistic. I'll say next year they are one of the best 76 in the nation. I don't need to say it about the women. They were one of the best 68, and really one of the best 16 this past season. True. The other thing I'll say is, I think St. Thomas may get in next year. They're D1 now, and they got a good program. They're on the rise, so yes, better punch a ticket, Gophers. All right, thanks for tuning us in. We are 10K Takes, your sports ticket.